the invite just so we have it. Thank you everyone for being here at Showcase Atomic with Sylvie.
Yeah, hi everyone. I am Sylvie. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Atomic Labs. We are the fully trustless gateway between the Bitcoin ecosystem and other chains. Today I have a little story for you. This is Pepe. Pepe is a Solana connoisseur, aka Maxi. Pepe is a lot on Twitter. On Twitter, he also found Solana Poet, who is an NFT artist who usually only publishes his art on Solana. But recently, he also launched a crazy successful ordinals collections. Ordinals are basically NFTs on Bitcoin. Now, Pepe really wants to buy one of Solana Poet's ordinals. The issue is you only can pay in Bitcoin, but Pepe doesn't have Bitcoin. So he needs to find a way how he can swap USDC on Solana into Bitcoin. So far, if you wanted to do that, you were always handcuffed to centralized exchanges when you wanted to exchange between native Bitcoin and Solana. Now, Atomic is basically holding the key to those handcuffs by presenting you a new solution. Yeah, as also on being a lot on Twitter, Pepe found atomic.exchange recently on Twitter, and now he wants to use it to swap USDC on Solana into Bitcoin so he can mint his ordinal. Now I have a little video for you guys where, this is the Phantom wallet. You can type in atomic.exchange, and I'll demonstrate you how a swap from USDC to Bitcoin looks like. It's a very easy Uniswap interface. With the Phantom wallet, you can also hold both BTC and USDC, so that makes things easier. You get a quote and then you hit swap. So there's also no slippage. And this is always a very dramatic moment for us when you're basically waiting for the swap to go through. Swap successful, that's it. The transaction went through. So now Pepe lives happily ever after, living his best life as a cross-chain degen. So what is Atomic? Atomic is a fully trustless cross-chain interoperability protocol between Bitcoin and other chains based on Bitcoin's proof of work, atomic swaps, and RFQ, which is request for quote. With us, you can swap fully trustlessly between native Bitcoin and Solana, which is where we're live right now, and Bitcoin and Ethereum is also coming soon. Now you might wonder, okay, but there's already cross-chain bridges out there. What makes Atomic special, or what is the difference? Now it gets a bit technical, so I hope you guys forgive me, but it's important for what we're building. So usually all the cross-chain bridges that are out there function on a validator-based model. So usually validators are the security model. So basically each and every validator stakes X amount of bridge tokens. The problem is once the bridge token price falls, these validators could steal more from a multisig than what's left in value in bridge tokens. And therefore, this model is not the best for security in our opinion. What do we do differently? We basically directly use Bitcoin's proof of work for security. We set up a smart contract vault on Solana or Ethereum, and this vault can only be opened with a successful Bitcoin transaction. So we inherit Bitcoin security. It's also usually liquidity is distributed in a validator model via AMM. There you can only use a very small fraction of a liquidity pool for actual swaps. And we use RFQ. So if there's one BTC in a pool, we can swap one BTC. What have we achieved so far? We have a 50% customer retention rate or user retention rate. We've reached 750K in trading volume with more than 2,600 swaps. And we have 350 unique wallet addresses. We also have a very full integration pipeline. Starknet is coming next. And thanks a lot. I had an amazing time here in Kernel and also want to say thank you for everyone who supported me. We're also currently fundraising 1.5 million, looking for a lead. We have 700K committed. So if this sounds something you'd like to learn more about or is interesting to you, please feel free to reach out or follow us on Twitter or go directly to our DApp. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sylvie. Please feel free to send a DM if you have anything. And thankful Pepe had a happy marriage during the presentation. Joseph, if you're willing, DAOs in Singapore.
Sure. Hi, everyone. 1 second, let me find my slides. Oh, can you see my slides?
We can.
Okay, awesome. All right, yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Joseph. I'm an engineer turned researcher from Singapore, and my group is called the State of DAOs in Singapore. So, effectively, the question is, who's talking about DAOs today? And 2 years ago, the answer was everybody. You had non-Web3 people, artists, there was so many people talking about DAOs. But what DAOs were back then were really about NFTs. Fast forward to today, who's really talking about DAOs? Well, DAOs today mean DeFi. DAOs today mean lots of money. It means something very big, something very global. But what we realize is that local DAOs today is kind of a dead discourse, a dead narrative. Nobody's talking about using DAOs at a local level to create impact in the communities which matter to us. So if you look at who's talking about DAOs today, well, it's mostly academia. We have cool things happening, in our universities here across different disciplines, studying like game theoretical models of DAOs. It's really, really great. And we also have like DAO people participating in global DAOs and global communities. So why aren't we really talking about local DAOs? Two reasons. First is there's been quite a bit of disillusionment with how applicable smart contracts are in our day-to-day communities. And second, we do have lots of communities still doing meaningful work. It's just their work isn't really seen as a part of a DAO discourse when it should be. So communities are trying to prove that they can have impact without resorting to the narratives which were associated with NFTs. So now that we understand the way things are, what is the way things should be? I'm not sure. I don't have the answer as an individual, but here's kind of how the research methodology to answering this question was. So in our report, chapter 1 was really about understanding DAOs in Singapore. This was done using desk research mostly. Chapter 2 is about what's happening, what happened with DAOs, who's talking about DAOs now. These were interviews with people in Web3. And in chapter 3 is kind of figuring out, okay, how do we make it relevant? And that was where we use try to engage with people out of Web3. So we use recruitment phrases like, who's a techno-pessimistic community builder? These are some ways which we tried to find the people who maybe resonated with something about DAOs, but maybe don't really agree with the mainstream values and narratives which are associated with Web3. So my hypothesis, at least, is maybe we should have a shot at making local DAOs relevant. I think a simple example is how the kernel community we do have activations at the local level, which are really important. And we do have some early examples of non-Web3 communities finding value in the conversations around governance in DAOs. So Lien Foundation is a local philanthropic foundation who did decentralized funding for hospitals in India. So yeah, maybe we do need to work with more communities outside of Web3. So yeah, caveats, my positionality, I was an engineer, I have a really techno-optimistic. I also come from academic background, so it's kind of my, just got to caveat all this. And yeah, do not take these findings out of Singapore. This is localized context to Singapore. Yeah, look out for, I have some colleagues, other researchers in Taiwan, Korea, and Greater China. We're giving a talk in DEF CON. Find a full report here at the DAOstar GitHub. Brought to you by someone from Metagov and DAOstar. If you're coming to Singapore, see you next Wednesday. We are organizing an event between Kernel, Metagov, DAOstar. Yeah, see you there. Thank you, everyone.
Huge. Joseph, thank you so much. It's a huge part of what we're excited about in Kernel, and I think localized DAOs is a really wonderful place to regrow momentum. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Christo, digital identity mapping, a project that has now spanned 2 blocks.
Hey Vivek, and thank you so much, Joseph. I'll share my screen and dive right in there. Can you guys see this?
We can.
Excellent. Well, so my adventure has spanned a couple of seasons of Kernel, and I'm so grateful to be here. Today is really about connecting the dots. It's about digital identity, but also a reintroduction. And I want to start with building a better web. It's like a core thesis of Kernel and something I've been able to sample throughout like KB 7, 8, and now 9. And this whole thesis of playing infinite games in true multiplayer mode is truly embodied with every touch point that I've had with Kernel, with the fellows, with the mentors, etc. And what I want to take you on is a little journey of my own experience with digital identity mapping that transcends the physical and the digital. So Sid and I had a chance to like brainstorm a few things, and he kind of like introduced this concept of the mycelium network, really connecting the dots and seeing that there are nodes around the world that we can connect with physically or digitally. And so my experience so far has been super cool because in Brussels, I was able to meet amazing people of the kernel community that connected the dots and expanded new possibilities. That transcended into now a working relationship with Yele, with Onboard, and there's so many interconnections there, which is really cool. Now, diving deeper into KB9, I took somewhat of a hybrid role. On the one end, functioning as a peer, but also crafting. And there's a few artifacts that emerged over our time. And one, there was this whole concept of making parallels between computer networks, so the digital part, with human identity. And a few of the things that came up is as an agent or an individual or a group of individuals, we actually have agency and can influence these macro forces, let it be technology, economics, policy, culture, and we can make parallels between the different layers of a blockchain or a computer network, but then translate that to the human or individual level. So to really flip it and say, what is our personal ethos or philosophy? How does that influence our protocols and things like that? And that led to amazing jam sessions with, again, amazing kernel fellows where we started writing, where we started like meditating, where we started also drafting our own little microcosm and mind map. And it was a lot of fun. And I want to actually share one of the things that happened because in KB8, I had the pleasure of doing these digital identity maps. I just sent one out to Dean. It kind of looks similar to what you see on the left, where we can actually have a map or a blueprint of all the different connections that we have, let it be digital or internal. And Dean just sent a message a couple of minutes ago that he was super grateful and that he's excited to continue to play with this. And there's a few more people in this like cohort that I'll be sending out digital identity maps to, but it's been super fun. Now let's actually do my own introduction, and I'll stop sharing this one and share another thing. Let me see. I love mind maps, so I'm going to take you through it. So this is basically the different parts of myself. So at the one end, I'm going to do a website transformation and reintroduction, and it's going to really anchor this whole concept of playing infinite games. And it's going to connect the dots with the different parts that I find meaningful. One is, of course, having a different, like a personal manifesto. It's going to connect different worlds. It's going to really embrace this whole notion of like multiplayer mode, but it also kind of like connects the professional parts of me. And so I've transformed the name of my working entity towards multi-node and now activating multiple working engagements, whether it be onboard or whether it be ecosystem partners like Eat Safari, and also creating like an artifact engine that on a monthly level will produce these little adventures. And I call it ethereal bridges. And basically, this is an opportunity for me to reintroduce myself fully aligned into the world, whether it be digitally or physically, and that it continues to embrace this ethos of playing infinite games with infinite-minded people. Once again, thank you all, and I can't wait to continue to play with you all.
Just on time as well. Krista, thank you so much for everything that you've done to make Kernel a more vibrant experience for so many, and the mind mappings. May they continue. Sideways with Grace, who's been such a joy to be with in Kernel Block 9.
Oh, thanks. I think everybody's been a joy to be with, hasn't they? I feel singled out as more of a joy than other people. Like, you're ruining my grumpy old lady ethos. Okay. So I gave a whole bunch of things to Christo there in terms of other things that I think are related to what he's doing, and I can make introductions if you'd like. Okay, so Sideways. So Sideways, we created this thing called Ostrom 5, and my goal for Kernel was that we would actually get funding, and so we submitted a Gitcoin grant. So that's what this is about. And the first question we asked is like, what's a partner? And sorry to pick on Cello, but it's like, we've got 1,000 plus mission aligned projects. And it's like, really? How do you know they're mission aligned just because they're building on Cello, right? It's like, what does that even mean, mission aligned? So we invented this idea called the Ostrom 5, which is basically you join, let's say it was the Cello network, but you join this thing and you sign up for a code of conduct. And as part of that, you also maybe give resources like whatever it is, 10 hours a week of somebody or money for mediation. And then you get this certificate. I put a kosher certificate. I'm still a Jew, even though it's very out of style right now. And as you can see, some of these are kosher and some aren't. Like this one is just a stock photo, so it didn't get a certificate. Anyway, so these are legitimate people. And you could say that let's say I went after one of these protests and I'm like, wow, they left a lot of plastic bottles on the ground. They're obviously not real environmentalists. So you would go to the Ostrom 5 and say, hey, listen, Ostrom 5, these guys left too many plastic bottles. And the Ostrom 5 would be a mediation organization. They'd sit down with them. They'd say, hey, what's going on with the single-use plastics? And they'd create some type of mediation and resolution in order for them to keep their certificate. So that's the basic idea behind that. And I can't see my presentation and the timer at the same time. Anyway, we submitted to Ostrom 5, the Ostrom 5 to Gitcoin. This is our basic outline. And this is our dashboard. We got about half that. Even though Gitcoin says this is what we would get, we got about half of that. We also calculated that we would need between $10,000 and $24,000 just to do like a little alpha experiment with some folks in Berlin who were interested in doing what we're doing. And so we already even have the alpha users, but the Gitcoin grants, just, I think that for this audience, you'd like to know this information more than about the Ostrom 5. First of all, it costs money. We did not recoup our money. We had to create a team, we had to create a budget, we had to create a website, we had to do all the social media, we had to show up at Twitter Spaces, we had to ask our friends to join. We did not recoup our costs. Not all the wallets work with Gitcoin. It's a very closed system. It's mostly made up of people voting for each other. So if you don't know OGs, Gitcoin is not for you. You have to know OGs. Only their votes really count. We brought in new users. Onboarding was a nightmare, and our new users got counted as Sybils because although they had legitimate wallets, they only contributed to our project and nobody else's project. Surprise, surprise, like my brother or my mom only contributed to me and not some rando, and that's a Sybil attack. So really bad experience. The promotions were really not great, and yeah, and then you get some Monday. I know that also one of the Gitcoin grants right now is dealing with KYC, the collab tech round. Like they can't even get their money because of KYC, and you know it's like $10,000. Anyway, that's my summation of like basically, you know, don't do Gitcoin rounds, and if you know of people who want to fund mediation efforts, that's what we're up to. Maybe Cello, who knows?
Yeah. I'm glad that you pointed at one explicit example, and Grace has been helpful in the whole block and just pointing out the holes that we are here to try to fix, which I'm really grateful for. You were right on time, Grace, even without the timer. We have two more before the break, which is Ani Mutembe, and then we'll end with The Moments Between by Camila.
Hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, you can see my screen.
It does it seems, yeah, Face ID seems to be getting us there, yes.
Cool, you can see. So Thanks so much. Being part of Kernel has been a pleasure. It's been really enlightening. And so we've been working on this idea where if you look at like the African continent, there's still a lot of challenges, but there's a lot of reality that a lot of our businesses are actually, trying to leapfrog the whole space of, credit cards. So imagine you're somewhere in the world and you want to make a transaction, you'll most likely use a credit card. But the continent only has 2% of a credit card penetration. But there's mobile money that is literally mobile phone numbers where you can actually have a wallet on your phone and you can make transactions. And most of our businesses are using this. And so what we were working around is like, how do we bring customer intelligence and engagements to decentralized mobile fast retail? Because most of the retail actually that's happening on the continent, or a significant part of it is happening through mobile money transactions. And it's really rich data. And it's our way of onboarding the next billion into Web3 because it's already on mobile phones, they already have a wallet. And so it's the challenge is that now, because we don't have credit cards in a lot of banking, the companies that have brought solutions are taking advantage of these businesses. And so the interesting thing is that you find that there's about, $1 trillion in terms of transactions that have happened on mobile money over the last year. And there's a lot of data that has been generated in this. And that also just shows you that there's a lot of economic activity going on the continent, even though at the moment it's only 2% of the global GDP. But for us, we believe that this 60 to 80% of small and medium enterprises on the continent that are currently now using paper to track their customers, have a CRM, and then engage with their customers and work with the community of their customers to actually get more people to actually come into business. Because just imagine it, whenever you have a favorite restaurant, what you will usually do is you will actually go and you will invite someone else into the restaurant. And so we are building tools that can help these businesses to actually engage with their communities and get people to come into the business. In the continent, we have almost 100 million small and medium enterprises, and they transacted on mobile money about $700 billion, like in terms of everybody transacting on the continent. And so the problem we saw is that they don't have the tools to be able to analyze this data because people haven't really thought about them. And if you look at this picture, these are the kind of businesses you find on the continent, right? So there's well-educated women who have a professional career, but then they have a passion and they've decided to come out with a product. Or you'll have people in the informal markets, right, who are selling there. But then now, so our solution is to literally have sorry about that. My screen just went changed a bit there. Sorry. Yes. So we focused on like turning these mobile wallets. So there are about 800 million wallets on the continent. And we're working on how do we get these wallets to turn into mobile wallets. So, Web3 wallets where, the businesses can send these people coupons and tokens and to share with their friends. And we can analyze the data from the mobile money that's on their devices. So far, we've engaged with the largest business association in the country. We got some funding from a crypto VC out of Switzerland. And for our machine learning, we're part of the NVIDIA Inception program. And we've signed up about 5 businesses that we've been able to analyze their transactions. And we know each business, how many customers they have, how much value each customer has to them. And then now they're having a realization that, oh, there's actually data that I can use. We're bringing them into the world of CRMs. And it's a simple setup. They pay us for a SaaS product. And then now we also make money from the coupons and giving them a platform to create coupons and share coupons. And then we have this idea of working on sharing data to earn on our consumer application, where people on their wallets can allow us to analyze their transaction data. And then if we use their data to discover a new customer, sort of like flipping the advertising model or the data model, we reward them with a reward or a coupon from the business. And yeah, it's we're looking for about $3.5 million in funding to scale this across the continent. We've already started in Kenya. We have had conversations with Uganda, Botswana, Zambia, Ghana, Benin, and mobile money just growing on the continent, but it's currently very exploitative for the businesses and the individuals. They take up to 2 to 3% per transaction fee for peer-to-peer, and even the businesses also have to give like 1% every time they do a business transaction on their platform from their own money to just get their own money out of the system. And so this is how I think we'll change. Like amazing team, like my co-founders in Kenya, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mutembe. Thank you so much for the presentation, and have some comments for you in the chat to check. We'll end the first portion before a quick break with Camilla, who's been working on a project called The Moments Between. Thank you so much, Camilla, for being with us.
Yeah, I love how the project is called The Moments Between, and I'm literally right between. But I want to start off my presentation with a little check-in. So I want it to be a little interactive, and my check-in is, who here is going through a life transition or a transition? You can drop a me here or an emoji, a number or something. Okay, I see some emojis. And how are you feeling? Like, what are some emotions that are coming up? Just one word is fine. Or an emoji, that's fine. Benga is super excited through this transition, actually. Excited. Liminal, excited and terrified, overwhelmed. More happy emojis. Keen. I love this. Happy. Yes, confused. Oh, okay. Christo has a lot of emotions. Curious and energized from Sun. So perfect. Yeah, lots of big emotions and lots of things happening. So that is, as someone who's also going through some life transitions, as we always are. How do I share my screen while I'm talking? Oh, gosh.
No worries. Yes, should be.
No.
Green.
I'm having a pardon. Oh no. I was so excited to. Okay, hold on. I think we're gonna. Okay, I apologize. I am having an issue where it's saying to quit Zoom before I can share. Can I maybe send one of you my decks, or what do you think is in?
Feel free to, if you'd like. Yeah, I can.
Okay. Apologies. That is normally on, but I don't know if I updated my Zoom or something recently, but.
Okay. There's lots of emojis in the chat for people to reflect on while we figure this out.
Thank you for being so present. Okay. Vivek, I'm sending this to you right now. Let's see. A lot of reflections happening in the chat.
Yeah, it's
Lots
nice
of
to
emotion.
periods for pause. That was kind of the point of putting this right here. If Camila, did you send it on Slack or on?
Yes, I sent it to you via Slack. It says it's uploading right now.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Got it.
Lots of emotions. This transition looks amazing. Let's see. I want to know. Oh, Sid says stoked. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, I'm going to be relying on you, Vivek, to, I guess, guide us through this. So, as someone who's going through a transition, I was really curious about how can we navigate this a bit better? And we can move to slide 2. Life transitions are stressful, right? They affect your mental health. They let you feel anxiety, these beautiful emotions called fear, and make you feel lonely, but they also impact your physical health, like trouble sleeping, panic attacks, and anyone with gut issues here, just me, but they impact that as well. So there's a little study that was done by WHO, so the World Health Organization, that found that arts-based interventions, right? Music, painting, essentially everything in the arts can really improve mental and physical health. And they lead to physical benefits such as reduced anxiety, and shorter hospital stays. And a little bit about me. So I'm an artist, a dancer, a product designer, and a founder. So I recently left my 9 to 5, recently as last year, and transitioning to more of a freelance entrepreneurial side of my life, which has been interesting. So I keep busy by staying actively involved in communities and moving my body. We can go on to the next one. Yeah, a little bit about my journey here. So I started off my journey in my life, in my career, in the American Cancer Society. Then I did some advertising consulting during my time at NYU. I kind of was pushed into tech as a marketing intern at a startup. We move to the next one. And then I fell into IBM for about 7 years, starting in community work in digital marketing, and then launching events, and then moving on to being a product designer with platforms, specifically enterprise. Go to the next one. But what I found in the commonality I found between all of this was that it was all people centered, whether it was health focused or an online platform. And that's why I want to share my poetry book. So The Moments Between is a visual poetry collection, which is really capturing that essence of life transitions where you're neither here nor there. It's sticky, it's uncomfortable, it's kind of gross, but you love it, right? And I wish that more people talked about it, which is why I'm sure a lot of us who were attracted to Kernel because of this moment. Right now, I have 8 poems. Right now, this is the first one you see on screen. It's called Beautiful Goodbye. But the goal is 33. I have all of them already. I just need to curate them. So that's one of my asks here is really any collaborations, any opportunities, any aligned partnerships is something I'm calling in here in this space. So The Moments Between, next slide, please. That's already in circulation. As an artist, I've personally performed this in various open mics across the US, mostly in New York, but also in California. And we can go to the next one. Yeah, but it's not just about me. What I really found through my time performing and putting together events was how much it really brought people together. So, for example, 2 years ago, I brought together an event that had 2 DJs, 9 artists, and I shared these poems. And at the end, it really sparked a great conversation for talking about mental health, right? And the shared love of art, which can be a tool to help sort of lessen and soften that barrier. Next slide, please. So the goal for this, right, is to really expand, right? And as someone with a tech background, I have been exploring launching this on chain, possibly creating a DAO or a token. But in terms of funding, really aligning with grants and organizations that have aligned values with mental health and arts, creating maybe a platform, but at the end, I really want to just create a platform or a community that centers around the love of art, mental health, and community. So if anyone has any thoughts or ideas, please send them my way, and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Camilla. Yeah, at some point, I hope everyone gets to hear Camilla read one of these wonderful poems, The Moments Between. We'll take a short break right now and perhaps reflect on that. If you have any comments in the chat, people that you want to say hello to, please use this as a chance to say hello. We'll just get back here after one quick song, and then we'll have the final 8 presentations. Thank you to everyone who's shared so far.
It
Amazing. Thank you all for being here. We're gonna get straight into the second component here with Clifford working on Slow Future, but also kind of an idea that I think has been continuing to grow and spread. So Clifford, please take us away with you.
Cool. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Here we go. Is that showing up?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Clifford. My background is in music. I spent over a decade touring and putting out records. And then I worked in science journalism for a number of years, which got me thinking a lot about technology. And my background as an artist, I ran into a lot of people who were very anti-technology, actually. And I was like, what is the problem here? Why are so many people anti-technology? And why is it that it's hard for a lot of people to see how technology can help us? So part of where I'm coming from, oh yeah, I have this statement. We live in a world where technology pulls us away from ourselves. How do we find our way back? I think that we are all already cyborgs. We use technology to enhance our abilities, to extend our capabilities. We don't have to look like this person here. We can just be wearing a pair of headphones or a pair of glasses. I think we can think of technology as a new dimension of prosthetics, basically artificial body parts that we're using to extend our capabilities. And a lot of these tools are harming us. In that case, we can think of it like an ill-fitting prosthetic and an ergonomic challenge. I think with this new era of tools where we're integrating on such a deep level with our psyches, our bodies, our minds, our spirits, I think that makes us have a new level of responsibility to make sure this technology isn't harming us. So I think we must design technology that not only functions well, but also aligns with our physical, emotional, and spiritual needs and takes care of the planet that we live on. So I've tried to kind of boil down some of these ideas of what could be principles for this thing I've been calling psycho-spiritual ergonomics, like how we can better integrate humanity, the planet, and technology. First, human-centered design at the deepest levels. Technology should resonate with our emotional, spiritual, and physical needs. It should foster well-being rather than disconnection and nurture mental, emotional, and physical health. There should be ethical transparency and user empowerment. People should understand how the technology is influencing them and be empowered to make informed choices about how they want to use that technology. I think the goal is to avoid manipulation so that if people knew how the technology worked, how the business models work, they'd still want to use that and support it. I think we need to really focus on reducing cognitive, emotional, and somatic load with our technology. I was really inspired by the ideas of Amber Case and Calm technology. And I think there's a lot of really good stuff going on there to look further into. I think technology should help users clarify intentions and set meaningful goals. Rather than distracting us from the things we want to do, it should help us figure out what we actually want to do and move towards those goals. Encouraging personal growth, offering feedback, and supporting deeper self-awareness. And finally, technology must be inclusive and sustainable and accessible. So we have to focus on accessibility. I think we should integrate circular design and regenerative principles to create systems that have a positive long-term impact on the planet. And we have to have an ongoing reflection on how our designs impact different users and help ensure that our technologies evolve to meet diverse needs. This is called techno-reflexivity. And here's a couple diagrams of the regenerative economy. Kate Rayworth has a great presentation on this. And lastly, how I'm exploring a lot of this right now is I'm now trying to use music and technology to help people have deepen their experiences in yoga and meditation. This is a show I did a couple nights ago at a yoga studio here in Los Angeles. hear some further exploration. Thanks so much.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Clifford, for providing some words to things that I think many of us have thought, but I feel like there's a lot there. So thank you for sharing. Thanks for being with us, and hope that in time we can get some kernel people out with you in person. We'll continue with Almond on Web3 communications, and then Benga, stablecoins in Africa. Almond, thank you so much.
Can you listen to me? Yeah, right?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Hey everyone, so happy and excited to be here with you all. I want to share about my kernel craft ID Web3 communication pitfalls guide. So I began this guide kind of like as a personal project for my kernel craft. Kind of like driven by the frustration that sometimes I face in my day-to-day work. I'm a communication and marketing person in Web3, and sometimes it feels like we're being really cryptic on purpose. So I connected with Lisa and Teresa and drew some great kernel fellows, and they were very excited when I shared about my work. So they gave me these first initial ideas for the guide, and then through some of the kernel's office hours and talking with friends, I finished this version that I'm sharing with you today. So there's still a lot of improvement for this work, but the guide as it is right now, I think it already offers great insights, like this overload of communication channels or lacking these crisis management communication protocols. These are two of my favorite, personal favorites. But I could spend the rest of my time walking you through the content, but instead I want to share something that really stand to me while doing this work. And it's the discussions that it really drove when sharing my work with others. The reactions that I got from people were sometimes often the same. So people really agreeing on this overuse of jargon or the struggles that sometimes they face understanding Web3 themselves. And in some other deeper conversations, some of them share that sometimes Web3 feels like this echo chamber, this like exclusive club mentality where only a select few people truly belong. And it made me think, how about for me, it feels the same sometimes. I feel that sometimes Web3 really resists to opening up and becoming more inclusive. So these thoughts brought me back to my experience with Kernel and how in the past few weeks, we have been constantly exploring these foundational concepts around this technology, like trust, like collaboration, like inclusivity, like radical openness or invitation. And it's just really crazy how sometimes it feels that these opposites coexist in the same space, right? So initially, I thought that this guide would be aimed to comms and marketing teams looking to make Web3 more inclusive. But after having all these conversations with people who made me reflect, I want to invite you to do the same, to share this guide with people who care about making Web3 a more diverse and accessible space. And maybe with people that you could think might spark these interesting conversations about these systemic challenges that during the creation of this craft, it drove me personally. So I'm sure that many of you listening today already have ideas or examples that could be included in this guide. And if you do, please, I will invite you to fill out this form right here with the content suggestions that you would like me to add to this guide so we can continue building this collaborative and evolving resource. So thank you for all the people that helped me create these craft mentioning here. Big shout out to you all, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And we'd love to have the forum so that people could continue the conversations. It's been really wonderful during this block. Thank you, Almond. Benga on stablecoins and more in Africa.
Sir, let me get my screen share up here.
Rhino.
Yep, Rhino. Let me make sure I get this in full screen mode. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you everyone for the opportunity. You know, this has really been, or my kernel journey has really been a culmination of my time in traditional finance, so about a decade there, and probably the last 5 years almost in crypto, and really just using kernel to be that right mind space and environment to, you know, marry my experiences from my professional time in finding real world solutions to areas where I think crypto can significantly make an impact. And one of that is really in financial inclusion in the global South. And that's how this project Rhino, which we're calling it, came about. Rhino is representative of the animal, which is symbolic of the global South, which is very resilient and strong animal. And that's why we went with that name. And the idea is really to address some of the financial inclusion problems that we see in the global South, starting with Africa. And so the problem that we want to address is cross-border payments and FX liquidity. Today, you're seeing, you know, long settlement times, lack of trust in the system, a lot of attempts to solve, but are largely very fragmented. And if you're looking at just Africa, it's, you know, a continent with, you know, several currency pairs that don't really talk to each other, where we think, you know, with the use of crypto tech and blockchain tech, we can, you know, make a difference there. And so the opportunity is massive. I mean, you look at these numbers here, you know, cross-border payments within and outside Africa, in the trillions. You're seeing a growing population, and these issues just continue to, you know, essentially just grow if there are no better ways of addressing or allowing funds or assets to move from one point to the other. I think one of the other things we think about is like the larger impact to people. If businesses can move funds, the folks who use those businesses eventually better from it and have better economic outcomes. And so our vision for Rhino is really to help deliver operationally faster, transparent, and cost-efficient platform to be able to enable these payments and source different FX liquidity, which sort of helps with international trade, balance of trade payments between countries and partners and merchants, especially where you're seeing, you know, folks move from one social class to the next. So the middle class demanding more, and so these all sort of like have this trickle-on effect to push for better servicing, and payments becomes really key in how that all needs to come together. And so the project really is, again, about delivering faster liquidity, settlement times, making it more efficient on blockchain rails. The workflow we envision is being able to capture the local fiat, on-ramp it to crypto, to stable coins, is the crypto. And then in one fell swoop, excuse me, in one fell swoop, be able to receive the stable coin, off-ramp it to the desired location if required, or just move it on for crypto to crypto payout. And where we are largely today is we have a team of 3 engineers. And back in August, we secured our FinTrack which is the Canadian licensing regulatory agency. We secured our money service business license. Our MVP is on schedule to be completed in November. We have some partnerships with key players on the African continent to sort of help where they see where the problem is. And of course, we're looking for funding in, probably about $1 million to sort of help us scale and turbocharge what we're doing. And so that's really what the value proposition is. We appreciate the time at Kernel and look forward to engaging with folks who are interested. And thank you.
Thank you, Venga. Really incredible. And I hope to follow along and be a part as the project unfolds. It's really, really special work.
Thank you.
We'll go to Yonks if you're prepared and ready. We skipping ahead one here, but would love to have you share if you are ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And let me share my screen here. All right, is that coming through for everybody, the screen share?
Yes.
All right. So gigs go green. We're positioning that as a movement for gig workers, initially Uber and Lyft drivers. And let me start with my why. As an IT professional, I was an IT professional from the late 90s to 2018, over 2 decades, got absolutely burned out. And in 2016, I personally started driving Uber and Lyft. And then in 2017, started house hacking with Airbnb. And since then, I've done over 12,000 trips and hundreds of stays. And if I had to grind for a dollar in 2024, I would still prefer to drive Uber or Lyft. And that's really one of the catalysts for doing Gigs Go Green, where we're really wanting to create 3 synergistic cooperatives: Tesla Black, Solar EV, and Web3 Community Land Trust. So taking a look at what that looks like for cooperative ownership, with Tesla Black, we're really wanting to have a simple formula for gig workers, Uber and Lyft drivers, to make more money. And when you think about increasing income, decreasing expenses, that equals more pay for Uber and Lyft drivers. And with this Tesla Black model, looking to do 2 Teslas, 4 drivers in 1 micro cooperative. And one of the reasons that we're wanting to put that package together is so that we can tokenize that at scale through DeFi protocols. And then when you think about these electric vehicles being driven around town, supporting local communities, they're going to need to charge a lot. And that's where a cooperative ownership model around solar and building out distributed energy resources really come into play. And there's 3 components that we're building in a cooperative ownership model for these distributed energy resources: solar panels, battery storage, and EV charging. And there's really 2 scenarios that we're looking for building out the EV charging infrastructure for. First of all is parking lots. And when you look through the lens of a gig worker, they need to charge in the middle of the day because electric vehicles don't have enough range. And you think about sitting in a car for 8, 10, 12 hours, they really need to take a break, grab a bite to eat. So doing a fast charger parking lot, and then when you fast forward to the end of the day, the last thing that a gig worker wants to do is sit in a parking lot for another half an hour or an hour. They want to go home, kick back a cold one, binge some Netflix, have a full tank of charge so that they can do their thing the next day. And then regenerative villages, and I'll come to that here in a little bit. And with all that we're doing around cooperative ownership, it felt necessary to go patent pending for the methods of cooperative ownership of various types of property using blockchain tokens. And that patent pending was filed in April of 2024. And one of the reasons that we wanted to do that was to increase investor confidence through our regulation crowdfunding offerings. And one of the things that's very exciting is that we are actually under contract for a property here in North Denver area. And you can't really see it too well, but right over here is the RTD light rail station. So the this is going to be more of a workforce affordable housing situation for these Uber and Lyft drivers. And one of the things that's very exciting is that we're going to be creating a friends and family round for people to invest in Region Village. So if that's something that you're interested in, reach out to me. It's going to be more for US state-based people. And then one of the other things that we're doing right now, Hero X is a US Department of Energy American-made challenges crowdsourcing platform. Department of Energy has funded over $250 million, and we're currently continuing to refine our narrative for Gigs Go Green. And here in Solar Prize Round 8, we're building out On-Chain Energy Network, which is going to be a software as a service solution. And we've got 12 team members that are helping build that through a working groups format. So thank you, everybody. Looking forward to collaborating. Absolutely loved the time here with KB9.
That was special. Thank you, Youngs. Congrats on the East Lake location and the concepts that's being driven forward with these specific micro cooperatives, while also considering what that might mean for us at large in crypto and beyond. So thank you. We're on our last 3 before we do breakouts. We have Kaushik with Mind Shares, we have Drew, Crypto Altruism, before ending with Zaremba. Kaushik, would love to hear from you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let me just share my screen. Okay, awesome. Can everybody see this?
Yep, looks good.
All right. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Kaushik. I'm actually presenting on behalf of both Rohan, Joseph, and I. We've been working on Mindshares together since kind of the start of this year, roughly on a research basis, going through a bunch of different ideas with each other. And we came into the beginning of this fellowship with a bit of confusion, actually. Not really sure what direction to go in, continuing to run in circles with ourselves. But the great part is that this fellowship has really given us kind of belief in ourselves, and also this ability to hone in on what we think are actually the highlights of our platform and our product. So just to kind of give you a quick overview on what we've been researching, our products are being designed to enable meta participation of ideas on the internet. So I've been studying a lot of this mimetic relevance. We've been studying memes, how mind shares are being transferred across ideas on the internet. And what we came up with is this kind of primitive idea called social derivatives, which are essentially experiments or experiences powered by crypto. They're utilizing content to establish new markets. The inspiration behind this is kind of what we've been seeing on an existent basis. So if you take the current landscape of crypto, social, or meme coins, prediction markets, clicker games, there's a lot of retention issues. The actual quality of the games tends to be lower. There's limited win, high churns of users, and a lot of the crypto social networks try to rely on content actually being built on the platform itself. So before we dive a little bit more into that content aspect, what we believe, or where the platform is going to exist right now, is actually within messenger apps. We kind of believe that the landscape for social games, specifically within messenger apps, is largely untapped, and that presents a really big opportunity for us to capture value directly from users there. So the core ideas within our platform, and the reason that we are relying on it being Messenger first, is that if you notice a lot of these apps like Telegram or Line in Japan, KakaoTalk in Korea, these Messenger apps have essentially become super apps for citizens there, allowing them to connect payments, do banking, trade on markets, make memes, make songs, do a bunch of stuff, right? And what we're failing to consider, I think, is that these messenger apps actually already have built-in virality mechanics and built-in distribution mechanics. So they're not operating in that typical content-based network mechanism that platforms like Instagram or TikTok are, where they're actually allowing content to be created. So our idea is that there's no need to actually rebuild that aspect of those platforms where you can create new content, just bridge the content over from those platforms to Telegram and these messenger apps and allow the distribution mechanics to take over. So our first initial experiment that we kind of have, that first derivative that we're thinking of, is what we're calling the metagame. There's 3 main aspects to it: to submit, sort, and speculate. The first part being to actually submit content from Instagram and TikTok and then create a constant feed of curated content. As the week goes on, users can actually tag this content and do up-down voting on it. And this tagging helps us on the back end in terms of the data aggregation we're looking for and the actual mindshare mapping that we're trying to do. And for the speculative aspect of it, these micro interactions turn into an actual voting game, like a Keynesian beauty contest, to decide the meme of the week. And you can earn points for being right, or you can also earn points for being the most wrong, right? So what we have right now is the content submissions for Instagram are already live. We have like a working Telegram bot, a feed that kind of funnels all the content over there. You can react with the memes. Over the next few months, specifically over the next 2 months, we want to actually launch a full Telegram mini app and integrate the reward systems, the game mechanisms, token distribution, and start working on new experiments as well within Telegram and also other messenger applications. So right now the team is pretty much just me and Rohan. We've been looking for like a developer or CTO for a while, kind of help us push this technical discussion along, push this development along. So we'd be happy to have a conversation about that with anybody. But yeah, I mean, we just wanted to really say we really appreciated this program, meeting everybody, and we look forward to staying in touch with everybody. And also the people will continue to meet through this program in the future. So thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, Kaushik. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really love the emphasis that both Kaushik and Ron have been placing on the style of social derivatives that we might explore. It's a really step forward, I think, for the ecosystems. Thank you. We'll continue with Drew and then Zaremba, the last presentation. Oh, Drew, I think you might be on mute.
I was muted, of course. You know, I've done like thousands of these over the last couple of years and still can't unmute myself properly. So happy to be here. Thank you to Kernel for an amazing experience and for organizing this as well, and to all those who are here listening in. So my name is Drew. I'm the founder of Crypto Altruism, which is a content platform focused on highlighting the positive social impact use cases of Web3. And I'll share my screen, which I'm actually just going to share my website so you can see, because that's the best way to really, show my craft and what I've been working on. So hopefully everyone can see that now. And cool, awesome. So Crypto Altruism, like I said, content platform that came from my experience in the nonprofit sector. In the late 2010s, so like 2018, 2019, I started exploring Web3 and some of the social impact use cases, but really struggled to bring this to nonprofit organizations and impact builders because of the negative perceptions that existed and still exist largely around the Web3 space. And so I made it my mission to shift the narrative and to build Crypto Altruism. And so we have a blog with different content and several different category areas. We have a podcast or several podcasts with I think we just released the 170th episode of our One series. And we also have a couple other mini series focused on nonprofits and optimism ecosystem. So yeah, that's kind of the high level. But what we're really looking to do now that I'm really excited about, and what I'm going to share with you is to build our Web3 Changemaker toolkit. But actually, before I get to that, this is our website it is currently, but we're actually working on a huge rebrand to update it and make it look a lot better. And we're actually changing up the logo and everything, the design, the colors. So it's going to look really awesome in a month or so. So I was hoping to have it done by now, but not quite. But anyways, shifting on from that, what we're really excited right now is our Changemaker toolkit. And so I'm going to share that now, which is on a different thing here. Perfect. Okay, share screen. Cool. So this is what I'm really excited about, what I've been putting a lot of time and effort into over the last couple of years, is the Changemaker toolkit. So what it is a all-inclusive toolkit for nonprofits and impact builders to learn about Web3. There's no assumption of knowledge that they have already. So anyone, no matter their level of knowledge of Web3, can engage with it and learn about how they can use Web3 technology to grow their impact organization. So it includes, basic introductory concept on some of the key terminology in Web3 in very easy to understand videos, a glossary because we have way too much terminology and lingo in Web3, as we know, modules on different use cases for nonprofits. So this is still in the works, so I haven't uploaded them all yet. But everything from decentralized governance to impact tokens to Web3 safety and security, case studies looking at some of the different real world examples of organizations that are using this technology to grow their impact. A resource library of different resources that are out there focused on Web3 and social impact. And then also a tool to help nonprofits develop a Web3 action plan so they can take this and then begin implementing some of these tools in whatever works best for their organization. And so this really came from the fact that we're beginning to see a lot of engagement in the Web3 space from nonprofits, mostly in the crypto philanthropy side of things. And what this really hopes to do is to help nonprofits grow their strategy from just crypto philanthropy to other, use cases, whether it's monitoring and evaluation, decentralized governance, impact tokenization. At the same time, we wanted to make something that was accessible and open to all nonprofits because, one thing that I've observed as a challenge in Web3 is that, the not early adopters were nonprofits that were quite large and established and had, IT teams, legal teams, marketing teams that could really understand the technology and implement it. This was really meant to be an accessible way to onboard nonprofits, including smaller ones, grassroots organizations, informal movements that maybe don't have those, those resources to dedicate to this. So we wanted to make it easy and accessible. It's open and free to everyone, as a public good. And so really excited about that. So that's a little bit of an overview of the craft, crypto altruism, kind of the origin story. The content is still very much our bread and butter of what we do. The podcast, the blog, collectively over 500 pieces of content highlighting the different impact use cases. But this is a really exciting next step in our evolution. So yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Appreciate all of you and excited to keep it going.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Drew. I just put it in the chat. It's just great. It's great to be in any small way affiliated with the work. I think it's such a clear example of growing the pie and trying our best to see in the real world where the use cases are. So thank you. Cool.
Thank you, means a lot.
Of course. The last presentation today is Zaremba, and it's entitled Joy as Resistance, which we thought would be a wonderful place. And thank you, Zaremba.
Hello. I'm just checking that you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, so the next step is to check that I can share my screen. Can you see my screen?
We can.
You can.
Yes.
Fantastic. So today I'll be talking about my craft, which started with the title Including Lived Experience in System Design, and then got a nicer title, Joy as Resistance. There are three things that I'm hoping you'll be able to get to remember from this little presentation. The first is the lived experience and the value of incorporating it in system design. The second is the idea of community curated model as a potential path to democratization and community ownership of AI models. And three is, joy as resistance. A few words about me. Sorry, I'll just take the cut. So I go by my surname Zaremba, my pronouns are they, them. I'm at this moment mostly interested in token engineering and responsible token ecosystem design and ethical AI. And those are the things that sort of gave birth to the research that I'm doing. The project is quite early stage, so I'll talk a little bit about where it comes from. I owe a lot to the fantastic Token Engineering Academy and the community, and they were the original inspiration. I learned from them about ways to include reputation in Web3, and I participated in a few study groups, and the main one is WMXN in Web3. And in that group, we had a lot of discussions on our lived experience and on responsible token ecosystem design, and all that together led us to consider what are the ways of including lived experience in system design. And then we focused on a specific use case, hate speech moderation in online communities, which is a combination of the three topics, AI, Web3, lived experience, to achieve something that I call community curated model. And then the values that are so important here is diversity and accessibility in Web3 and in the systems that are designed, giving marginalized communities more access to shaping technological solutions, and not just acceptance, but access, but also ability to enjoy the space, to reclaim the space, and joy as resistance. Conscious of the time, I'm happy to talk more about all of the elements. How do we define lived experience? What does it mean to have the lived experience as when talking about hate speech moderation? But the most important part that I would like to jump to is that when we have the system where we combine lived experience, governance, and AI, to build models that are better able to support that are better able to support the needs of the community, that are better able to safeguard the community from hate speech, from toxicity. On the other side, that also means that the communities are able to build safe spaces, help to educate the space. So where the joy as resistant comes is the fact that on one hand, sometimes the most radical act a person can do is to feel joy, but on the other hand is that shaping the community, building safe spaces, reclaiming space, that is what allows people to feel full joy. And I think I don't even see the timer, so I'm guessing that I got over. Thank you so much to Kernel for everything, for the fantastic discussions, and for everything. Feel free to reach out, and if you want to, if you're interested in either the joy as resistance or community curated models, we're looking for more team members and of course funding as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaremba. Thank you, everybody. We've reached the end of the presentations. Please excuse my voice, I'm kind of losing it, but I'm just really happy to be with everyone. We're gonna open up breakout rooms now, and we have some presenters who have had to go, and of course slightly smaller group than what we began with as a result. But please, if you did present, at least check out your room, but also feel free to move around. Everyone has the option to move around the breakout rooms. If there's anyone else that you saw here that you know you want to say hi to, please take a moment and perhaps send them a DM and prepare to meet in one of the breakout rooms. We'll give everyone about 30 seconds to do that. And then we're going to stick around here for one presentation with Liz, who has graciously stuck around because we want to include her in the recording. But thanks for being here. Please enjoy the breakout rooms if you can stick around for conversation. And if not, just thank you again for your presentations and for your presence today. We'll see you soon.
All right. So hi, everyone. I'm Liz Kuka, CEO at Purpose for Profit. We're an ESG organization that's environmental social governance. Our mission is to transform marginalized communities through initiatives that promote long-term growth and sustainability. We're starting with affordable housing. In the US alone, there's a deficit of 7 million affordable housing units. That's over $300 billion. In addition to that, there's over 11 million people who are paying more than 50% of their income on housing in the US. We see this as a great opportunity to create what's called a purpose-driven economy, where we match interests and incentives. I already mentioned on the affordable housing side, there's a deficit of 7 million homes at $300 billion. The digital asset space is also 2.6 trillion globally, so why not use that capital and put it to work? The conscious economy is estimated to reach 53 trillion this year globally. And then the use of Web3 for not only transparency, but the ability to easily transact and sell kind of your property, or I'll get into later, your loan, is really quite a bit easier. So what in the world is Purpose for Profit? We are the world's first on-chain endowment fund and tokenized credit fund. What that means for us is that we are providing below market rate loans to businesses building affordable and workforce housing. This is an example project that we would love to lend to, and they're within our pipeline already. Not only are they building affordable and workforce housing, they're also incorporating market rate housing, including green space, and also using sustainable materials. This is important because a lot of housing developments today, out of 100 units, 2 will be affordable. Or on the other end, you'll have Section 8 housing or just affordable units only, where you're really ostracizing or ghettoizing people into places where they don't have access to a variety of people. So how do we fund these loans? There's 3 different ways. The first and foremost, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. So we have an endowment fund for donations. The second is through our impact investment vehicle. And then the third, and this is future tense, is for token holders who are interested in our asset-backed token. Most of this is going to focus on the impact investment vehicle. So you can kind of bypass step 1 on how all of this works. You don't need the purpose token to participate. So if we move into step 2, Purpose for Profit underwrites a loan. It's packaged as an NFT so that you can see all of the deal terms and repayment schedules. Everyone's able to monitor it on chain. Impact investors can come in and invest within our portfolio of loans. You earn 5% yield or 5% APY, and then you can either exit at 6 to 12 months time periods, or you can resubscribe. This is quite an advantage to traditional real estate investments that are generally 3 to 6 years in length. The reason why we're able to do that is because we're focusing on construction bridge loans specifically, which are short-term in length and have a number of other benefits, including keeping construction workers employed. This is what our dashboard, investor dashboard, will look like. This is using Centrifuge.io's infrastructure. The pretty or really helpful piece about using this is the reporting function. Instead of having like a fund administrator, we can just use Centrifuge directly. And as a nonprofit, it's a lot easier for us to have transparent reporting. We have a great team. Instead of going through everybody one by one, just a quick overview. We've done everything from launching fully regulated exchanges, custody businesses, global hedge funds, all crypto-based, as well as building traditional Web2 financial products and services, managing on alternative investment funds of over $1 billion, and also working within urban sustainable development. The entire team has worked at nonprofits or have been board chairs. We're raising $2 million. This will help us with the next 18 to 24 months. It'll cover the cost of 6 core team members, admin fees, contractors, and what it will really do is help us get our lending software up and running, all of our banking and accounting integrations set up, allow us to onboard our initial borrowers, and provide $250 to $500K in initial loans. as well as onboard our first impact investors, and add our single sign-on wallet, probably dynamic, to enable a swap functionality for purpose within our site. Oh, and we're doing a crowdfunding event in January. That's about it. If you want any more information, you can contact me at liz@purposeforprofit.org. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Brought us home. Thank you also, Liz, for doing it again and
Yeah.
being patient and everything. It's incredible to see some things that we can chat about in good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for everything you guys have done.